Nobody is replying to your LinkedIn messages, and it's not because of your CV or your experience or your university. It's the one specific thing that most job seekers get wrong. And until you fix it, you could send 500 messages this year and still land 0 interviews off the back of them. So in the next 20 minutes, I'm going to give you the exact 3-part formula that takes a cold message from opened and ignored to a senior person writing back within 48 hours. I'm going to show you the 3 bad messages recruiters delete on site and why yours probably looks like one of them. And I'm going to give you the 4 plug-and-play variations for every kind of contact on your list, from alumni to ex-colleagues, post-engagement, event references, whatever. And I'm going to answer the 6 most common questions I get about LinkedIn messaging, including the one that stops most people sending anything in the first place. So the average cold LinkedIn message gets a 1 to 2% reply rate at a time. The messages that actually work get 10 to 20%. It's the same person sending it, the same senior people on the other end. The only thing that changed is the structure of those 4 or 5 sentences. And that matters because 65% of the jobs are filled through referrals and networks. A single name drop from a proper LinkedIn conversation gives you a 32% higher interview rate. And a referral from the same conversation makes you 4 times more likely to land a job. And all of that is what you're leaving on the table every time your messages get ignored. So let me start with the thing that almost nobody understands, which is the actual reason why your messages are getting ghosted. So a first message is not about you. It's an invitation to reply. That one line, if you get it, is worth the next 20 minutes. So most people send what I call like a 2-statement message. You say what you do, you say what you want, and then you sign off saying great to connect. And you've just given another reason why someone would not reply to you. Recruiters and senior people get dozens of messages a week, if not a day. And your message does not have a question they can answer in 5 seconds. They read it and they think, oh, I'll reply later. And then they never do. And it's not because you're annoying and it's not because they hate you, because you've given them no job to do. So the mental shift is this. Your only job with a first message is to make it as low effort as possible for them to write back. That's the whole game. Now, before we go any further, I want to address the one other thing that I see job seekers just torturing themselves with, which is what they do when they do not get a reply. They just assume that they said the wrong thing. They assume the person looked at the message and decided they were weird or annoying or just not worth their time. And the truth is that there are about 4 or 5 reasons way more likely than that. Like they were at work and they didn't check their LinkedIn during the day. They got 20 messages that week and yours got buried. They opened it on mobile, meant to reply and then just forgot. They don't actually use LinkedIn that much, or they're just dealing with something in their personal life and it's just not the right week. You will literally never know which one it is. So stop spending mental energy on it. The only useful response to silence is sending one more message. So now let me show you what a bad message actually looks like. And I've reviewed thousands of these in my community and on student coaching calls. And the bad ones basically fall into 3 categories. So bad message number 1 is what I call the CV dump. So imagine opening your LinkedIn messages and reading this. Hi, I'm a project manager with 5 years of experience in financial services. I have led multiple transformation programs and I'm currently targeting a senior PM roles in banking. Would be great to connect. Read that back. Like, what are you supposed to say? Cool, thanks for that. There's no question, there's no hook. It's just a CV delivered to a stranger. And the reason it feels robotic is because it's all about the sender, not the person receiving it. And people do not reply to messages about someone they don't know. Now, bad message number 2 is the vague admirer. Hi, I've been following your work for a while and I really admire your career. Your journey is so inspiring. I'd love to connect and learn more. Same problem, just a different type. There is no specific observation, nothing that proves you actually looked at their profile. It could have been just copy and pasted of 10,000 different connections. And it ends with learn more, which is the vaguest ask in the world. Senior people read this and immediately clock that you've sent it to 30 people in that day and then just ignored. And then there's bad message number 3, which is the open essay ask. And it goes something like this. Hi, I'm trying to break into consulting. Could you tell me what the culture is like and what it takes to succeed and what you would do differently if you were starting again? This is the one that stings because the person probably wrote it with the best intentions. The problem is the ask was enormous. You've just asked someone to write you a 20-minute essay. Nobody does that for a stranger. So what happens is they read it and think, oh, I'll come back to that when I've got some time. And 4 weeks later, it's buried in their inbox forever. So those are the 3 patterns. Over about you, it's vague, or it's too big of an ask. And every message that gets ignored is some version of that. All right, now we're going to get to the main event, the 3-part formula for a first message that actually gets a reply. This is the thing I want you to write down. Every great first message has 3 components, and it's in this exact order. Common ground, an observation about them, one specific ask. So let me walk you through each one properly, because every one of these has a trap most people fall into. So component number one is common ground. And the rule that is more like we and less I. So people like being talked about. They do not like reading about a stranger. So the opening line needs to point at something you share with this person, not something about you. And that's a shift. So if you both went to the same university, the wrong open would be, "Hi Alex, I'm Oliver. I'm a second year at Manchester studying finance." Like, all about you. Now the right open is, "Hi Alex, I notice you also went to Manchester." Same information, the word also tells them that you went to Manchester as well. But the focus of the sentence is on them, not on you. It's a small change on paper, but it's a massive difference in the reply rate. And I've tested this with hundreds of candidates in the community. More we, less I doubles your reply rate, minimum. So the question is like, what counts as common ground? And it's really anything genuine that you share. You know, the same university, same degree, same previous employer, same career transition you're trying to make, maybe a post of theirs you actually engaged with, or an event with the speaker, your current role matching to what they did 3 years ago. The common ground does not have to be huge. It just has to be real. You know, fellow ex-Barclays works. "Oh, I saw you spoke at Bristol FinTech Meetup," works. Or, "I just made the same move from audit to transformation that you made in 2022. It all works. And if you can't find that common ground with someone, you probably should not be messaging them. Pick a different contact. Now, component number two is one specific observation about them. This is the part that proves you actually looked at their profile, and it's one sentence. It's specific, and it's not generic. So the wrong version of this is, "I love your career journey," or "Your experience is so inspiring." Every AI message says that. It's the LinkedIn equivalent of just background noise. The right version names a specific thing. "I saw you transition from finance into transformation 3 years ago. I saw you've been leading an ESG work at your firm. I read your post on how you broke into consulting from a non-target school." That's all it takes. It's just one line and it's specific. It tells the other person, this is not a mass message. This person actually looked at my profile, and that alone puts you in the top 10% of messages that they actually get. Now, component three is one simple specific ask. This is where 90% of people just blow the whole thing. You need a question, and without a question, there's no reply. But the question has to pass one test. Can they answer it in 3 words or less? If the answer is no, you are probably asking too much, and they'll probably end up having to write that essay that they don't want to do. So things like, "What is the culture like?" That fails. That's a 20-minute answer. Or, "What advice would you give someone starting out?" Again, it fails. Or, "What does a typical day look like?" Again, it fails. Now, watch what happens when they narrow the answer space. "What is the one skill that helped you most in the transition?" Passes. They can answer probably stakeholder management in 4 seconds, and you have your reply. Or another one could be, "Did Python or SQL help you the most when you started?" A or B, it's done. An example, "Would you recommend Prince2 or Agile PM for someone making this move?" Passes. It's quick. It's picking one. And you can see the pattern, like you're narrowing the answer space. You're making it ridiculously easy for them to reply. And the moment you have that reply, you have a conversation. So that is the formula. You've got that common ground, observation, and then that 3-word answerable ask. You just pack it into 4 or 5 short sentences. No, "I hope this finds you well." No essay introduction, no asking for a coffee chat for the first message, just 3 components. So let me put it together so you can actually see it all in one piece. So, "Hi Alex, I noticed you also went to Manchester and you're now working as a data analyst at Palantir. I'm a first year studying finance and going for analyst roles myself. Would you say Python or SQL was most useful when you first started?" That is it. It's 4 sentences. It's that common ground, the observation, the 3-word answerable question. It takes 2 minutes to write, and once you've got that template, it's in your head, and it gets replies 3 to 5 times the rate of the generic stuff everybody else sends. So now you know the formula. Let me give you the 4 main different types that you can also use depending on who you message. So the first type is the alumni message. That is what I just showed you. So same uni, same degree, same program. Lean hard on the shared background and pick a question about how they navigated the early stage of their career. Type 2 is the shared previous employer. This one is underrated, and if you use it at the same bank or same consultancy, insurance firm, even the same training program, that common ground carries just as much weight as the alumni status. So an example of this would be something like this. "Hi Alex, fellow ex-Barclays here. I saw you made the move into head of transformation at your current firm. What is one thing you wish you'd have done earlier in that move?" That's it. Now, type 3 is the post engagement. So go onto LinkedIn, search for keywords tied to your target role, filter by your target companies, and find people who posted something relevant in the last 30 days. Read the post, comment on it, then message them referencing that post. So that would look something like this. Hi Alex, I saw you posted on how you structured your first 90 days in transformation. The bit on stakeholder mapping stood out to me. Was that something you did on your own, or was there a template you used? Again, it's specific, it's engaging, and it shows you're paying attention. And then type 4 is the event reference. So if you've been to a conference or a talk, a webinar, meetup, whatever it is, here's an example that you could write as well. Hi Alex, I was at the climate finance panel in Edinburgh last month where you spoke. Your point on greenwashing stuck with me. How did you first come across that research? Works every time because it's genuinely specific. So whatever type you use, the 3 components are the same. Common ground, observation, 3-word answerable question. Just don't overcomplicate it. And one really important note before we move on is keep a tone just casual, but not too professional. The biggest mistake that people make when they try and sound professional is they write like they're applying to a job in 1998. Like, Dear Mr. Alex, I would like to formally express my interest. Like, nobody talks like that. Nobody replies like that. Just talk like you would if you were introducing yourself to someone or in the lift, for example. Short, friendly, clear, done. So now you know how to write a great first message. Let me address the 6 questions I get asked about LinkedIn messaging more than anything else, because the formula is only half of it. The rest is what you do when these things do not go to plan. So the first question is, they accepted my connection request, but never replied to my first message. Can I message again? Absolutely, message again. The reason they didn't reply is almost always that your first message had no question. The follow-up is simple. Give them a specific question they can answer in 3 words. If you have a skill or a certification in their world, anchor the question around that. So something like, with the Prince 2 certification I have, is there one other thing you would recommend I pick up to move into transformation delivery? 1 question, 1 answer, done. And if they still do not reply after that, just move on or send them an email. Some people just think LinkedIn is just too much and they don't want to open it. Question 2 is then, they reply to my first message and then stop replying halfway through. What do? You've got to chase them. Silence is the worst possible result here. Your brain will tell you they hate you. Almost certainly they just forgot or they were just busy. So your chase message does 3 things. It names the elephant in the room. Oh, I think we might have missed each other. Or if you arranged a coffee chat and you never got round to it, you could propose a specific time. Would Tuesday or Wednesday next week work? And it skips the niceties like, oh, I hope you're doing well. Sorry to bother you. Just skip them. And that's it. Just 2 sentences. If they don't reply within 7 days after that, try an email again. And if it doesn't land, just move on. And then question 3 is, how to avoid sounding like AI? Now, this is number 1 blocker I see, like people spending 30 minutes editing a single message, and each edit pushes the message further away from how they actually talk. By the end, it just sounds like a legal notice or some AI slop. So the exercise that works is this. Pretend you're typing the message to a friend. Use the words you would actually say out loud if you were in the room with that person, with your friend, and then send it. So if the message, hi Alex, I think we got our wires crossed and want to try again on Wednesday. If that sounds right, then say it out loud and then message it. Don't spend 20 minutes turning it into a corporate speak, because the corporate speak is exactly what makes it sound like ChatGPT. And here's the thing that you have to remember. You're not trying to write a perfect message. You're trying to start a conversation. Those are different things. A conversation can recover from a slightly awkward sentence. A message that never gets sent can't. Now, question 4 is, should I ask for a coffee chat or a call in the first message? Absolutely not. It is way too big of an ask for someone who doesn't know you. They'll read it and immediately feel pressure to say no, so they just don't reply at all. Start with a 3-word answerable question like we covered earlier. Once they reply and the conversation, 2 or 3 exchanges in it, then you can pitch that coffee chat. And when you do, offer 2 specific times, not let me know when you're free. And then the 5th question, I'm not a recent graduate, who should I be messaging? And that's a good question. So if you're mid in your career or a bit more senior, alumni from university is probably less useful because you graduated quite a long time ago. This also applies to people who didn't go to university. So if you worked at your previous employer, people that have worked there, you have some kind of affinity, you have some shared culture, and shared previous employees are an immediate common ground. And on top of that, target people 1 to 3 years ahead of you where you want to be. So not directors of the big global divisions, people who have just made the move that you're trying to make. And then the final question, how many messages should I be sending per week, and what do I do if I don't get replies? So if you're in an active job search, send 10 to 15 a week minimum. Now, if you have LinkedIn Premium, you can send more. If you don't, you get 3 to 5 connection request notes per week for free. So you'll need to mix LinkedIn messages with that email outreach. And I would expect a 10 to 20% reply rate if your messages are good. That means if you send 50 messages, 2 or 3 people are going to reply. That is a great week. And if you send 50 messages and nobody replies, your message is wrong. Not the universe, not the market, the message. Rewrite it, check it against the 3-part formula, and send the next 15. All right, so the last thing I'm going to give you is the follow-up cadence, so you know when to chase and when to walk away. So you're going to send the first message on LinkedIn. 7 days of no reply, send a short chase. Totally understand you're busy, would appreciate any quick thoughts on this when you have a second. Still nothing after another 7 days, find their email, same tone, same short note. Still nothing after the 3rd attempt, then you move on. At least you gave it your best shot, and that is more than 99% of the other job seekers out there in the market. So now there's one important rule on who is worth chasing. So not every contact deserves 3 attempts. The test is this. Is there a clear and specific reason this person is worth your time? If they work at a target company on your shortlist, chase. If you share a previous employer, chase. If they have your exact target role, then you chase them. If they're 1 to 3 years ahead of you and you're making the same move, chase them. If they replied once and they went quiet, then definitely chase them. But if they were like a random connection request with no obvious link to your goal, don't waste your energy. Just move on. Use the time to message someone you actually have a reason to speak to. And by the way, like if someone tells you, I'm not the right person to help you, or I'm not open to conversations at the moment, that's actually a gift. You free up a slot. Thank them, close the loop, and then move on to the next contact. Just don't take it personally. All right, so let me leave you with the part that actually matters more than any of that formula, which is this. The people who land the jobs are not the people who sent the perfect message. They are the people who send 10 imperfect messages while everybody else is still editing the first one, or not even sending them at all. Your natural voice is the thing that actually gets replies. The formula there is to give you that structure. The variations that I gave you, again, just use it. And the cadence tells you when to chase and when to walk. But all of that is useless if you are sitting there for 30 minutes, not even sending a message or just over-editing the first one. So this week, I want you to pick 10 contacts, write 10 messages using that 3-part formula and just send them. Log them in a simple spreadsheet, chase the ones who don't reply 7 days later. That's the work. And if you want me to look at one of your messages before you send it, jump in the free community, the link is in the description, and post the message you're about to send, and I will tell you exactly what to change.